Hi, this is Kristen here. Welcome to another process video. And today I'm working with Grit and Grace by Traci Reed. And this is for the Instagram hop, although obviously I'm posting it on YouTube. So I will include the information down below for the other creators who are playing along on Instagram, so you can go check out Instagram. And I will be using the papers, the stickers. I was going to try to work in some of the journal cards, but I did not. And so I really like this diamond paper. It reminded me of kind of a quilt. And so I decided I was going to go ahead and cut out some diamonds from this. So I initially was thinking about just cutting out this little small diamonds individually, but I ended up deciding to cut out a bigger diamond. And as you can see, I could get quite a bit of diamonds cut out. I do end up having to print off another paper. So this is 8.5 by 11, just cardstock that I printed this on. I do end up using quite a bit of that leftover paper though to fill in the gaps. So you'll kind of see that once I start to kind of lay this all out. And so I picked out some maroon paper that I had in my stash. I felt like it worked really well with the colors of this collection. And so I'm going to go ahead and start kind of laying out my diamond patterns here just to kind of visualize, make sure that this is kind of, the direction I want to go. This is kind of what I had visualized in my head, but I always like to lay it out and just make sure that that I like it before I really truly commit to it. And so here's where I start to take some of the leftover pieces here and kind of fill in those gaps. So I'll include Traci's website down below so that you can go check out this collection. She's got a ton more on her website that you can go ahead and purchase. And of course, this is digital and printable, so you won't get anything in the mail. It's all downloadable. You print it off, and you can either cut off like the stickers on your Cricut or Silhouette, or you can fussy cut them. And if you don't have a good printer, you can always go and have them print it off at like a print shop, and then fussy cut them. So when I saw this paper, it just immediately, my great grandmother was a big crocheter. So, and I've always loved like Amish quilts. So that's kind of what I was trying to recreate with this pattern, just, to kind of make it seem like, like it was quilted. So this collection has like a lot of maroons in it, a lot of yellows, kind of like some peach undertones, some blue. It's got like a big wide mix, but it's all like really kind of warm tones. So it makes you really think like fall and Thanksgiving. So here's where I had printed out that second piece of paper just to cut out some more full diamonds, since I didn't have any left over on the other paper where I could have cut out a full diamond. And I ended up actually having quite a bit left over of that second sheet because I think I really only needed to cut a couple more full diamonds off of that. So here is where I've gotten everything adhered down. And so I really like the look of this, but my intention was to go ahead and do some hand stitching on this. I was trying to pull out my best Allison Davis / Paige Evans ability, which, clearly that's not even close to being what they can do with the stitching. But so I'm going ahead and marking here where I want my holes, just trying to make sure that they're kind of somewhat lined up and even. I'm not big into hand stitching on my layouts, although I think I love Allison Davis and I love Paige Evans. Their designs are gorgeous. It's so time consuming. And I know like Allison says like she'll do it a lot, like on, cross country trips, kind of sit in the car and stitch, but it really is pretty, and it does add a lot to a layout, but it is time consuming. So here is where I'm going through. I'm poking the holes. I did add a piercing mat behind it just to cushion and be able to, punch the holes a little bit easier. And then I'm just erasing my marks here. And here I'm pulling in the different threads that I had, trying to decide what would work really well with this. So I really like that peach color, the bottom. I think it's the bottom one is what I end up using. But I also like this kind of rusty red thread. So I decide I'm going to alternate it. So I end up doing like a row of the peach and then a row of the red. And then when I got done with that, I was like, well, I really want the diamonds to have stitching around them. I just felt like then that would make it look more like a quilt. So I ended up pulling out some purple thread and going around each diamond. Now, some of the diamonds, if you notice, weren't completely threaded all the way around, but that's because I knew the photograph and the ephemera were going to go in those areas. So I obviously wasn't going to waste the time, and effort to, thread there. So, and I just did a simple back stitch, so nothing fancy there. I decided I was going to pop the picture up on foam, so then that way, it would sit flat with the stitching behind it. And I went ahead and double mounted the photograph on this kind of like peachy paper with flowers on it. And then the other paper was kind of like a purple with some like lighter purple / pink hearts on it that were in the collection. And the photograph is of my kiddos enjoying a fire, because this collection is about giving gratitude and spending time with family. I really felt like that, that was a good photograph to document that, because we love having fires and the kids really enjoy themselves. And we usually will hang out there and watch a movie, and a lot of time my daughter wants hot chocolate. The title is Finding Peace in Family. And then that little tag up there says, a reminder that everything we need is right within these 4 walls. I'm going to layer up the flowers that were in this collection. And then I love the hearts that were in this collection. They were just so pretty. So I end up starting off with like just 2 layered up behind the floral clusters, but I will end up pulling in a 3rd. The little blue arrow says thankful for everything. I wanted to double check and make sure everything was kind of like, even though I had went ahead and adhered it down just to make sure everything looked like it was leveled out. Sometimes your eye can really trick you, especially with like repeating patterns like this. Sometimes you think you're where you need to be, but so I am going to go through here and I think find a couple more hearts. So I keep my collections in like little Ziploc baggies just to keep them together. And then I'll write on the baggie with a Sharpie, just so that way I know what collection it's from. This yellow arrow there says slow down and savor. Bunch of numbers came in this collection. I'm trying to think of like a good layout to use those numbers, because I'm not a big like, like I don't do like journalers or anything like that. So I mostly do all just scrapbook layouts. So I'm try to think of a good way to use those numbers up, because they are pretty. They're kind of in this like blue color, like a darker blue. So I switch out these tabs up here, kind of going back and forth between the two of them. I really like them, but they don't end up making the layout. I don't know if it's because I just felt like they kind of stuck out a little bit too much there, and I don't know. And so here is the finished layout. I really love how this turned out. I think it turned out so pretty, and it does remind me of a quilt, which is exactly kind of the feel I was going for. I will include the information down below, and here are a couple close-up shots. I really appreciate you for coming by to watch another process video.